Hi everyone. Today we will discuss what is ADT, why it is required, and how it will help in creating different data structures. So, first let's get to know what is ADT. It is basically a programmer-defined data type that specifies a set of data values and a collection of well-defined operations. So, when we say it is data values, technically those are variables. And when we talk about well-defined operations, technically those are functions. So we can perform multiple operations on the data values, right? And then we can define it together under one class, and that definition will be called as ADT, and it stands for abstract data type. So, as I said, in technical terms, when we talk about data values, it is variables. And when we talk about operations, those are functions. So, what is that with which we can create a set of variables and functions clubbed together? So, yes, you got it right. That clearly we can create a class and we can define a data type with the help of a class. As you know, class is also a user-defined data type. We can customize it as per our requirements. And that's why it will be totally based on programmers' requirements, how to design it. So now let's today see the first example of creating an ADT. And the first example we are going to start with is Date ADT. Now, as per what you know, date is already present in one of the packages in Python. So we have it already available, but it may not be flexible to be performing many of the operations that we may need in our programs or in our software's applications. In such a case, we can design a specific class with all the requirements that we may need in our future softwares, putting it all those put all those operations together, all the variables required together in that definition, in that date entity, and then use it whenever we require them. So let's start with the code that will well explain this particular concept. So let's go with it. So the first thing that we need to start is we need to import a package, a module from which the base date class will be referred from, so that we will get some of the predefined features which are already there in Python modules. And for that, we will refer to date time module. From date time module, we will import date as well as time. We will refer it as time delta. I will tell you further when it is actually required. Let's move to another module that we need to import, and that is a calendar module. Okay. Now, as I said that we are going to define set of variables and functions inside a class, let's start with a class date. Either we can name it as date itself, as we can see that the predefined class has a lowercase d. Now, how it will be different if it is lowercase d or capital case? So yes, you must be knowing this, that Python programming language is a case sensitive language. Rather, any programming language that we use, for example, even if you use C, C++, Java, C Sharp.NET, or any other programming language, including Python, all these programming languages are case sensitive. So if I write date in lowercase and if I write date in capital, those two will be two different things. And that is why we can continue with this date as D capital. But always remember, there is a difference. When I write it with the small lowercase date, it means it is a predefined class from Python datetime module. And when we write it with capital letter D, it is something that I have defined on my own. So if you are confused about this, you can simply change the name to Date ADT just to keep it simple. Now, The first thing we always start with is the init or initialization part of all the members of the class. So if we need any default values for set of variables in our ADT or in our class, we can initialize all of them inside this particular predefined part, which in general terms, we can also call it as a constructor because it will be always called automatically. Okay, this initialization part is always done automatically. Now, when it will be done? So when I will create the object of date class, init will be automatically called. So it is one of the function which is a special function. Let's call it as a special function. And a special function when it will be called when we will create object of the date class. And that's why I just compared it with the thing called constructor. If you have heard about it before, it will be easier for you to understand this particular part. And the next important and mandatory thing whenever we are doing classes in Python, it is necessary that every function that we create, define inside a class should start with the self as its parameter. Now, what will self mean? So self is basically something that represents current instance of the class. So whenever we call any function or whenever I say that init is automatically called when the object is created. So whenever I talk about object, that particular object is represented by self. Now with self, I am passing some more parameters. Now I am writing these parameters in quite a different way. Usually we just write the name of the parameter. Here I am specifying their type as well. Again, it is not mandatory, but if we want to limit our values to only integer like that, I can do it in here. So I am just limiting its type to only integer. Then I just need to initialize one value or one variable inside this. I can either write it as underscore date just to denote that it is one of the private variable, something that can be accessed only inside the class. To again avoid the confusion or for simplification, we can simply write any other um, variable name. We can use any other variable name. To keep it very short, uh, let's suppose I am naming it as simply D. It may get confused with again D as a day. So let's better start with underscore date. You can, yes, definitely you can use any other name in place of this. It will be totally programmer's choice how to go about the name of the variable, but we have to make sure that whatever convention we are following has to be throughout used in the same manner. Now, after that, I need to assign some value to it. So what I'm doing is here I'm using my predefined date class. You can see that the first letter is a small letter. So we can now clearly see the difference that it is a predefined date class. And whenever we use predefined date class, it has three parameters that we can pass along with it. And again, as we are using Visual Studio Code as our code editor, we can see some IntelliSense feature. We can see some suggestions where it is saying year, month, and day. So we can pass these three values to it. So here I am passing year, month, and day. And you can see how they are coming. So they are present because of the parameters I have passed to the init method. So I have already passed it as a parameter and the same values I am using. So what I initialized in this, I initialized my date value. And what is the variable used for storing the date? The variable used is underscore date. So remember the difference. If I'm simply writing date in lowercase, it is a predefined Python class. If I'm writing it with underscore, it is a variable that I'm using in my definition. And if it is D with capital letter, it is a class that I have defined as an ADT. I hope all the part is clear to you. Moving further, I'm adding some of the functions here. So I'm adding another function called day. This day function is supposed to return an integer value. Now, obviously, by its name, what it should be returning? So it should be returning the day part from the given date. For that, we will write self dot. Now, the variable, the date variable we have is underscore date. So we will simply write underscore date. And from that, we have to specifically fetch the day value. So you can see that we have a reference here. We can use the day property or we can use the day variable indirectly to get the day value from the particular date. Now, similar way, we will add some more functions like we will add month. Month will be also in integer form and we will return month from this function. Same way, we will go for year function. Year will also return an integer value. And we will be writing self dot underscore date dot year. So this way we have defined some of the basic functions from this particular ADT. Now we will be adding some more functions to it, making it more strong and more reusable. Okay, so let's see how to add them. So we will continue with the next function and there we will be defining the next function as month name. Now these are the additional functions that we are uh, putting so that it will be more useful, something that we will be easily able to understand and reuse. Though we have predefined ways to get the name of the month and other details, but through these functions, let's say we will be easily able to identify the use of that particular entity. Okay, so how we can do that? So again, I'm passing self as my parameter. And as I'm saying that I'll be returning the name, the type of this will be a string value. So what we will be returning is we will simply write return and from the date variable, I need to specifically get the name of the month, right? And for that, we have this function called strf time. This function will help me to get a particular name of the month. Now, how we can get it? So for that, I am passing %b. Now, what is this %b? So this is basically the literal which will be used, or let's say a format specifier which will be used to get the name of the month from the specific date. Okay, so it is basically the second value, that is year, month, and day. So month is the second value standing for variable, or let's say the literal b. Okay. After this, my next function will be day of week. Let's keep it all small to avoid confusion again. So I am passing self, and again when I'm saying day of week, here again I want to return a string value that is the name of a day basically. So again I will use this strf time. And in strf time, now we will pass, since we need a day, we will pass %a. Sorry, it has to be a capital letter. Additionally, I am using one more, or I am creating one more function where I'm checking whether the particular year is a leap year from the given date. For that, I'll be passing self as a parameter. And here I'm returning Boolean value. Since it will be like a true or false function, whether it is a leap year or not. True if it is a leap year, false if it is not. Again, for that, I don't need to write a logic as we have predefined function to be used. Now, this will be used from the calendar module that we have included. So from calendar, we have easily function inside which we will pass self.date.year. year. Now, why we are passing specifically the year? Because that is the value that is expected whenever we have to check whether a particular year is a leap year or not. After this, we will be adding one more function called advance by. This is an additional function again. Here we will be allowing user to add certain number of days to the given date. For that, we are doing self dot underscore date plus equal to, because we are adding some days, and in that I am using time delta, and then I will be adding some days to it. And how we will do that? So inside the bracket, we will write days equal to days, not self dot day. We will write days because that is the local parameter we have created. मतलब ये क्या हुआ इसका meaning? So the value from time delta will be assigned with the value declared here or passed here. So that days ka value will be added to the given date. It will be plus. The final function that we are creating again is a predefined str function. We are going to redefine it. हम इसको customize करेंगे again. And what we are going to put into it. So how to display the date. हमारा जो ADT का date है, हमें वो कैसे print करना है, how we want to show it. So I will say self dot date dot we will use strf time, and the format that I'm going to use is %y dash %m dash %d. So by this, I am basically going to display my date in the year, month, and day format. So if I'll be printing it, this is how it will be displayed. Now let's call all of these. So first I'm going to display the date from my ADT. So I'm defining it as current date 2026 to, and it is 23rd. After declaring the date, I'm going to print it first. So I will say it as date and I'll just print it. After printing the date, I'm going to print year from my date. And for that, I have to write D. These will be the object that I am using. And from that, I'm going to call year function. Similar way, I'll be printing month. Similar way, I'll be printing day. After doing all of this, let's move to the advanced functions. So the next thing I'll be doing is printing name of the month. So month name. For that, I'll write D dot month name. Next, I'll be using day of week. For that, I'll write D dot day of week. After that, we will move to remaining functions where we will check if the year is a leap year. So for that, we will say D dot is leap year. So it will print, again, we have to caption it for the understandability. So is leap year. And for that, I am passing is leap year. And inside the is leap year, it will directly refer the year from the date. Moving on to the next, we have to advance the days. So I'll say D dot advance by, let's say I'm adding 2 days to this. So after that, I need to print the updated date. So after advance by date का value क्या है? So that will be printed here, adding 2 days. And that's it. Now you will say where str is used or where init is used. So when we are creating the object, init is automatically called here. And when str is used, so whenever we are printing only D, Okay. Whenever we are printing only D, it is calling str automatically. So at these two places, str is automatically called. I hope this entire thing is clear to you, and I will save this program and let's check the output in the terminal, and you can clearly see. So we can see that there is this date displayed in the format that we gave in SCR with the dash in between. Then it is displaying year, month, and day. Then month name, which is February, day of week, which is Monday. Whether it is leap year or not. And after advance by, you can see that 2 days have been added. So 23rd was the date. After adding 2 days, it has become 25th. And that's it. So we have performed all the functions and all of them are working well. This is how we can customize and create our own data type with the help of classes, functions, variables. Okay, that's it from me. Bye bye.